Well, it's been 50 years in the making, and as the final preparations for EBMT 2024 are underway, I'm delighted to be joined by Grant McQuaker and Charles Craddock, this year's Congress's co-presidents. Gentlemen, thank you both for joining me. Well, we've made it to Glasgow. We're nearly ready to get going. What's gone into this meeting and the preparations, Grant?
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say it's amazing to be welcoming everyone to Glasgow for the 50th meeting of EBMT. I think there's been an awful lot of work going in over the last year in particular. We didn't really sit down with EBMT until the last meeting in Paris and went through what was going to be required from our point of view. We got the input from the UK transplant community, and then a smaller group of us went on and worked very hard at trying to populate all the sessions for EBMT.
And what's new this year? What are the main changes from last year to 2024?
Well, I think there are a couple of innovations in the programme. The first is there's a session called the EBMT contest. So there'll be 5 presentations and there'll be judging and discussion around that. So there'll be a winner at the end of the day. Another exciting session that we've got is a joint meeting with the nursing staff in an MDT format where there will actually be a post-transplant patient present who will be discussing the issues they've had to deal with, and I think that gives us a unique perspective on transplantation from a patient's point of view.
And I think also we've tried to pick up on this spirit of inclusivity and empowering the younger generation, the next generation of transplanters, and also to build into each session much more opportunity for interactivity. So I think it'll be a lively meeting with some fantastic presentations, but also the opportunity for delegates to actually challenge speakers.
And as we can see behind us, we've got this incredible timeline. We're celebrating the 50th anniversary of EBMT. Where have we come in that time, and what does that mean to the field scientifically, but also I would have thought the community as well? Charles?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually, I urge everybody to look at this timeline. It's a beautiful thing, and it's actually quite a solemn moment, really, if you think how far we've come from the pioneering work of people like Eliane Gluckman, where transplantation was really such an edgy proposition. And in fact, many of its advocates were seen to be almost pushing the envelope too much. Moving to a position now where transplantation is a core curative strategy, not only in malignant disease, but also in non-malignant disease, and also how it's provided the basis for CAR T-cell therapy and cellular therapy. So just to see how much has been achieved in the last 50 years, and how much of it has been done by clinicians who put patients absolutely first, but have this pioneering spirit, but also have the ability to take the community with them, is really humbling.
What are you both particularly excited about seeing over the next few days? Charles?
Yeah, well, we've seen such remarkable advances in the area of transplant, increased donor availability. So there's a pivotal presidential presentation around the science of post-transplant cyclophosphamide. So that's really opening up how we do haploidentical transplantation. There's some really important presentations about cord blood and the outstanding results with cord blood transplant. There's another area, where we actually can provide much better supportive care to patients. So there's some really interesting data about reducing transplant complications. So there's some really, globally significant breaking data presented at this meeting in all of those areas, and I'm really excited to hear those presentations.
And I think increasingly important is looking at disparity. I think these are cost-intensive approaches, and the cost of healthcare continues to escalate, and there have to be important discussions about what the implications of that are going to be.
What would you both say is most exciting about the future of the field, looking quite far ahead maybe even? Charles, let me come to you first.
I'd say 2 areas. The first is there's some very important data being presented again in the presidential session about how we extend the principles of transplant to non-malignant disease. Diseases such as sickle or metabolic diseases can be completely transformative. And secondly, I think a recognition about the importance of data There's a growing recognition that we need to generate high quality prospective data sets, just as you would with other diseases. And that is going to be a real topic, I think, of the debates, but also the networking, working with our American colleagues as well, about how we can generate high quality data to inform future decision making.
The principles of transplantation are now being applied to other cellular therapies. And I think this is opening up treatment options in other areas, and treatment options that are moving away from the kind of traditional approach to transplantation, but still offer curative treatment in patients who otherwise had no alternative available to them.
Just to finish, Grant, let me ask you, you're from Glasgow.
Yes.
What recommendations do you particularly have for anyone here for the first time, or maybe for further visits here? What should people be doing?
Well, I think the city centre has got fantastic Victorian architecture. It's known as the Deer Green Place because of the amount of parkland in the city. There's a country park, two train stops from the centre of the city that has got a herd of Highland cattle in it. And I think it's got a number of world-class museums, and the museums in Glasgow are free. So, there's a fantastic opportunity there to see some great art and great culture while in the city.
Well, Charles, Grant, thank you both so much for joining us. We wish you every success for the next few days. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Sam.